Good morning everyone. So yeah, I haven't pulled Yidhari, the current meta best matchup for Hunter. My Yishuan and Lucia is already occupied on Priest and my Manato is still level 1. So who am I going to take him on with? Considering this guy has really high base defense and high max anomaly buildup, plus the stage buffs only give sheer damage. And we are left with the mid TA buff option. So without a Rupture agent, this will be a challenge. After testing my options, I think my best bet here is to do it with Orphie. You know, personally, I really wish Orphie is more meta prevalent. And maybe I am biased because of my godly Orphie build that I somehow acquire. But consider this, in this team, she has high attack by her own kit plus drive disc, high damage percent with lighter, 95% death threat with her signature and Nicole, the closest a non-Rupture agent into being a Rupture, a high critical value with near 100% crit rate and more than twice of that on crit damage, and a bit of a rash threat from lighter. So what's the problem here? In paper, this looks like a broken character. Well, despite all that, the fact is Orphie is a very well-balanced agent, shown by her damage multiplier number being considerably lower than most DPS agents. Several of Orphie's main damage source is her Aftershock EX, her EX Halt Laser, and her ultimate. All of their multiplier is around 1000% each, but no more than 1500%. And the multiplier difference is obvious if we compare Orphie with other main DPS that spam their main damage source like Evelynn. And I understand why. If Orphie damage multiplier is treated like other DPS, she will be a broken character with all these high combat stats. And the devs probably wanted to design her more as a sub-DPS and balance her around that fact. But alas, we prevail. And by understanding how Orphie deals damage, we can see that our main objective on the rotation is to let Orphie do her Aftershock, while Lighter and Nicole will be tagging each other on field. Lighter to refresh his buff and debuff if needed and get in some days by dodge counter, and Nicole upkeeping her debuff by basic attack and EX specials. It's very important to not interrupt Orphie Aftershock for damage. If in the middle of chain attack Orphie is in her Aftershock animation, then we go to bamboo chain. Before we swap from Nicole to Orphie, wait for Orphie Aftershock to be done first. And I usually swap to Orphie before Nicole Quick Assist trigger because Quick Assist can abruptly stop Orphie damage. And we don't need Quick Assist in this team anyway, no Astral Voice. The target on each stun is 2 EX Halt Laser, 2 EX Aftershock, a chain attack, and an ultimate. The order is flexible. For example, at the second stun, I use Orphie ultimate first so that Orphie Decibels can be ready for the next ultimate on time. But I believe this is the highest damage stealing count that Orphie can fit inside stun. And note on that ultimate timing, defensive assist by Orphie is really important for her Decibels. If we didn't get this defensive assist chain before the last stun, Orphie Decibels will not be enough for her fourth ultimate. Now considering other option, from the previous Orphie stats discussion, you might see that the only stat modifier that we are missing is stun multiplier. So why not use trigger instead of Nicole here? Both gives death threat and trigger can give a little bit more with stun multiplier, an untouched damage variable. But from my testing, using swing just trigger instead of Nicole is weirdly a bit worse, but only about 1k difference. And I think this is partly because Nicole has another great value for Orphie, that is, her ultimate recharge Orphie energy, meaning Orphie can do her EX Aftershock more often compared than with trigger. And some note on Lighter. If you've seen my previous video, same as Jufufu, Lighter is capable of 5 stun on Hunter, in fact way more easier. With the right RNG, Lighter can get the first stun in only 20 seconds. This is 10 seconds even faster than Jufufu can. But why are we not doing 5 stun rotation? Well, the problem is that first, even with 4 stun, Orphie Decibel management is already hard enough. I don't think she can generate enough decibels for 5th ultimate without decibels buffing effect like Jufufu's. Not to mention, Orphie energy would also not be enough to deal damage consistently with the Aftershock EX in a 5 stun scenario. And Lighter stun duration increase debuff is actually messing up with the 5 stun rotation. By the time for the 5th stun, there's just too little time to deal meaningful damage, making 5 stun rotation score doesn't really that much different. No, I think it's a bit worse than 4 stun rotation. And one small important thing on Lighter buff management. If you are using Red Flash to get dodge counter with Lighter, I suggest you don't spend his morale for buff refresh here. To get the full 75% fire damage buff, Lighter needs his W engine passives to be up that require him to do quick assist or defensive assist first, so make sure you do his buff refresh after a quick or defensive assist. Overall, I think this is a really good performance by Orphie and teams, even with the mid buffs in the current rotation. Remember, don't compare Orphie in this situation with Yishuan, Yidhari or Manato, because after all, this is a handicap run. This is like matching Ellen or Hugo against Bringer. In this situation, a clear at M0 is already a great result. Orphie being able to overcome Rapture meta is admirable. I hope this video helps you and see you next time.